Welcome to Breaking Solo, how solopreneurs break barriers, build brands, and embrace the future of business.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Breaking Solo. I'm very excited today. My guest is Nicole Fronick. Nicole, thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Tell the audience what you do.
I provide books, branding, and business development, and do so through Two Horse Productions. So it is a really wonderful way to get to know individuals that are interested in their career journey, how to explore ways to optimize their business, or special projects that come about on either end of that spectrum.
Awesome. That sounds exciting.
Keeps me very busy. A lot of variety.
That's good. That's good. Tell me, what inspired you to go into business solo?
The ability to have financial freedom, and also to have the ability of being a key stakeholder in the discussion. It's very difficult to have circular conversations where you're not reaching a decision, allowing you to move forward, and having that solo ability gives you that chance to make that forward momentum that you desire and create the partnerships that you would like instead of inheriting maybe ones that don't fit your particular personality style or business model.
That's a great reason to go into business for yourself. So,
Yeah, adaptability, flexibility, and just really stress testing yourself. What are you made of? What can you achieve? And all the wonderful things that you learn about yourself and others along the way.
exactly. That's great. So tell me, what's been your biggest challenge on your solopreneur journey?
Gaining enough confidence in others to be willing to make the financial commitment. I hear very, very often, oh, I could really use executive coaching. Oh, project management sounds like a luxury, but I don't have the budget. And the fact is, you will save more money than you spend if you go forward with those that have that expertise, because they can help you save money on the back end or somewhere else. So it's really just instilling that confidence and I guess just expectation that they will have the financial gain in the long run. So getting their commitment to go forward with those initiatives.
Yeah, they don't realize how fast they can move forward with expert assistance, helping them to get there.
Yes, which will in and of itself save money. Time is money, right? It's not just a
Right.
cheesy saying. It is a reality. And there are lots of projects where just one bit of expertise from something you've gone through before could save them, say, $50,000 on engineering or a material savings of bulk. I mean, you just have no idea what you're going to learn from others when you bring them online, but just maybe start small if the budget isn't there. How can I retain your services on an hourly versus a large contract? Or how can we provide that kind of ad hoc expertise and consultation? So there's so many different options, and I really pride myself on being adaptable and scalable. So always kind of ask those questions. If you don't think you can financially afford something, figure out how you can put it into your budget next time or the next phase, and then gain that extra partnership that's going to help you. So that's been the biggest challenge, is just really getting that drive from others to join the initiatives together and just really have that better end result.
Yeah, that's a hard one. So have you ever had a moment when you thought about giving up? And if
No,
you
no.
did, what
Yeah.
changed your mind?
Not giving up, but I'd say switching gears. And what is the time to do that? Because you don't want to sunset a project too soon. And you don't want to sever a relationship without having all the information. But how do you know what all the information is? And how have you met enough information to make that decision? So those are really the biggest challenges I have routinely, not giving up, but when to course correct, when to change gears, and what are the implications if I do, and what are the implications if I don't? So those are the kind of the internal conversations I have, because you don't have a larger network when you are working as a solopreneur. So yeah, really it's just coming to that moment when you have to make that decision and then just going forward.
So how did you find your unique niche in the market?
It came to me through others. I didn't really have a formal plan of what would come after the book. And I get asked a lot, oh, did you create the book so you could have speaking engagements and build your business? So no, actually, Corporate Coach Approach book was born from being asked by so many friends and colleagues about how could I advance my career? How can I stand out? I don't even know what a personal brand is, let alone how to create and develop and cultivate one. So wrote the book first, and then the business came because of it. So it was really kind of a calling from others and realizing that I have this wide range of odd expertise from communications to project management to technology, social media, marketing, all of the above. So I thought, well, let me put it all together in a package and see how I can help others.
Well, that's awesome. So how do you differentiate yourself in the marketplace?
I would say being scalable and being adaptive. I have had a lot of people come to me and say, oh, I've done executive coaching before. I've done the programs. I've done these models. It doesn't work for me. And I then immediately say, what was the program like? And they say, oh, basically package A. So there is no package. There's no one size fits all ideology. You really have to customize it. And I'm willing to adapt and course correct. And we can do that even after we start. If you find the first session gave you different ideas or different topics, we can scrap the program and go forward. So I give a very loose idea, allowing us room to transition and merge and adapt as we go forward. And that's been really effective for a lot of folks. And that has been a very key element. In fact, one of my clients that I do executive coaching, she works for a nonprofit. And when we began, we had this program, I call it my crash course, and we went through all of our different topics that I talk about in the book. And in the end, we actually had such a friendship come out of our partnership that she offered to do the foreword for my book. So it was kind of, it was a really nice full circle, but she always was very excited about the fact that I could switch gears so quickly. She would call and say, oh, I have a presentation tomorrow. It's on this. Our topic was about that. Can we course correct? Absolutely. So I don't know a lot of people that can pivot that quickly and do so in such a quality way where you're going to have value for your time together versus it being very generic and like, ooh, what AI tool did you use to pull up an outline for me? Like, I really want to understand what you need so we can adjust and go forward together.
That's powerful to have the ability to do that for clients. Good for you. So tell me, what industry trends do you think solopreneurs should be paying attention to?
I definitely know that AI is not going anywhere, and a lot of folks are hesitant about it. And it's not so much to be thought of as a replacement or an alternative, but I like to use it as an executive assistant. And this is really important when you are running lean. You have your idea, you have your creativity, you have your process. Throw it in one of these chatbots and see, does it still make sense? Does it align with my brand? Does it align with my budget? Does it align with my marketing? And really allow it to be a second set of eyes or an editor or some sort of resource where you can just make sure you're still on target to where you'd like to go. So being familiar with the different tools, and there are so many and more every day, find one that is good for you and your style and you're comfortable with it. Because we're always having to adapt in so many different ways when you're wearing 50 hats every single day. So
Right.
don't exhaust yourself with trying to be a master of everything. Just find one tool that works for you and really become comfortable and familiar with it so you can utilize it and be effective versus just running in a circle. Also, really being consistent with your marketing and your branding. I know everyone's exhausted, the social media exhaustion, right? I have to be an entrepreneur. I have to be a leader. I have to be a CEO, a CFO, all the O's. You have to be all the C's. You have to be the full C-suite. Then you have to be personable and able to have a podcast and able to have a book and able to have your social media. But your audience is really going to rely on that consistency. So once you build your brand and build your audience, if you will, give them what they expect and your cadence, whether it's once a week or twice a week, or you can flood social media. What are you getting from it? It depends on what your reach is, but just let them know this is what you're going to get, stand by it, and they're really going to benefit. So build your brand, be consistent, and then find tools that are going to work for you. So you're not running in a constant circle. It will just wear you out.
That's for sure. So are there any books, courses, or mentors that have made a really big impact to your success?
I would say I really enjoy Daniel Pink as an author and James Clear. They've done Atomic Habits and also The Science of Timing. And I didn't realize the science of timing when I was small, but I was raised by older parents and I had older siblings. And so I learned from observation, when's the best time to go to mom? When's the best time to go to dad? And I didn't realize what I was doing is coming to them at their best time so I could get the best response for what I wanted. And later in my professional career, I read this book and I thought, oh, that, bing. And I thought, oh, this is fantastic. So I really take it to heart. I have my peak productivity, which is mid-morning to early afternoon, which is why I so appreciate you scheduling our time together today at that peak performance. And really knowing when you can approach your clients and your stakeholders at their best time of day. So this is where the adaptability comes in. I am not a morning bird, never have been, never will be. But if you are, I will have an extra cup of coffee. No problem. So really understanding that science of timing behind the best time and what that means in your best time. And then that atomic habit, I really believe in incremental improvements and just being a little bit better every day, every conversation, every email. And he talks about James Clear. He blew up. Now has a master class, and I read his book long ago and started following his newsletter long ago. But it just talks about those small little moments every day that build up, add up, and they really do. So those are two books that I really have enjoyed over the years and refer to frequently.
That's great.
I need a coach. I need someone in my corner. So I read those books pretty frequently.
That's awesome. Okay, tell me, do you have any daily habits or routines that help you to stay focused and productive?
I review my calendar every morning. It is the worst thing that can happen if you miss a meeting. It can reflect so poorly on you, your brand, your publicist, your publishing house, anybody you're working with, your clients, if you're representing them. So I look at my calendar every morning, and that seems very, oh, ho-hum, Nicole, I do that too. But do you really look at it? Do you understand the time between? Has it been blocked to do a recap or to follow up with individuals? Or is your day stacked so heavy? Yeah, I will physically be there, but are you going to be present? Are you going to be providing any value, or are you just a robot staring at a screen? So make sure you give yourself time in between your calendar appointments and enough time for follow-up. You speak with someone you want to follow up with in the next day, put that in your calendar. Maybe don't flood yourself with reminders that being and peeing all day long, because that can be very taxing, but give yourself those breaks that allow you to do your different tasks when it's the best time of your day and when you can be a little bit more on autopilot, the more operational type items. So I'm really good about blocking my calendar and then also taking time for myself, doing stretches, walking around, going for walks. I talk to myself when I walk, and some people might not admit that, but that's when I have really good conversations because there's no distractions. I leave the phone off, I leave everything quiet, and I just kind of walk, look around, reflect. And when you have a change of scenery physically, you have a different mindset. So it's really a good time to brainstorm in between all of those other conversations throughout the day.
Yeah, that is so true. Um, okay, tell me, what's one piece of advice you'd give someone just starting their solopreneur journey?
Be patient and be brave. It's a good combination and not as easy to do as you would think, but you have to make movement. You have to go forward. And this is really instrumental in my career in project management as well. You are never going to have all the information. You're never going to have all the time. You're never going to have all the budget. But if you wait for this trifecta of perfection, you're not going to get anywhere. So start small. Be consistent, go forward a little bit, and then as you learn more information, change the direction, change your resourcing. Just find out whatever information you need, but just go forward and give it a shot. I mean, you have nothing to lose. You might as well, if it's something that's really speaks to you and really passionate, and you're not stressing or taxing yourself to such a level where you're going to be desperate because you have to make that big sale, you have to get that client. Desperation is not something that you want to radiate and emanate. So really be brave and bold, but appropriate, and just keep track of what you're doing and make sure it's still online with what you'd like to achieve.
Yeah, that's great advice. So, is there anything that if you could go back now and do one thing differently, what would that be?
I have answered this question before, but I'm going to answer it a little differently based on information I've learned since. When I went to publish the book, I was under the impression you had to have a full manuscript before you reached out to literary agents. I didn't realize you could do so with just a fully fleshed out proposal. So I could have done both tasks in parallel. I could have been reaching out to the agents while I was finishing the manuscript. So that is something I wish I would have known more about. I was worried about copyright. I was worried about them saying, "Oh, I love this book. Send me the full manuscript." Unicorn and dreams. It's very hard to find an agent, let alone a publisher. So I would have had plenty of time. But I really wish I would have known that earlier. And what you can do, it's an old trick of the trade, I'd say, is just send yourself a soft, what do they call it? A poor man's copyright. So you physically mail yourself a copy of your document and you leave it unopened. That way later you have evidence and proof that it is your original work. So if you haven't heard that tip already, look more into it. You can find tons of information. But in parallel, you could do that with your proposal. It doesn't have to be a full manuscript. So that is something I wish I would have known. It would have saved me a lot of time. And then I'd say that's the biggest takeaway I had. I wish I would have known sooner. And the way I would answer that now is just do additional research. When you think you know enough, do just a tiny bit more. Maybe ask one more expert and see if you learn anything different to validate your next steps.
Great advice. So do you have any exciting projects or launches coming up you'd like to share?
Exciting projects is we're going to be working through our publicist, Mickey of Creative Edge, to approach libraries. And we're going to do so in the sense because the book can trend a little bit more towards academic or self-help, but also it's really a nice thing that you could approach through libraries because of that learning and that academia component, but also a different audience than, say, bookstores that might be differently targeted depending on the foot traffic. And summer's coming, right? So might be a nice way to get some new students or individuals that might visit the library during those summer hours when it's super hot outside or just gearing up for the fall semesters coming up. So going to be working on a circuit throughout the U.S. and potentially starting in Colorado and more of that region. So that will be a fun initiative, and I'm really looking forward to that.
That is a great strategy. I reached out to locally, Cincinnati area, to the library system. There's a whole bunch of libraries in the city and in the county, and I reached out for a client.
Okay.
And I heard back from them this morning, and I have to send him a copy of the book. He has to present something, either how he wrote the book, his writing process, or telling stories from the book. And the book is funny. And he can sell as many copies as he wants. He gives the library 20%.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's great marketing. It's wonderful for the library as well because you're fostering that collaboration and your readership is something different, right? You're not just going to a library and taking a book off a shelf. You're getting to meet the author. You're getting to ask questions. And it's fun to get a signed copy if that's what you do. You collect. I have dozens. And it's really a nice way to understand who maybe your audience is that you weren't planning on. So it's a really nice way to do so. And you get to travel. I mean, everyone wants to travel in the summer, but if you can pair a little bit of business in and have it not go in vain because you don't have a lot of free time, but you want to make as much time as you can to have your business and luxury, or what do they call it? Business and leisure. Sorry, not luxury. And really just see how you can maximize your time on those different trip plans. So that's really exciting. I am curious to hear more about that down the road. Please keep in touch and let me know how your experience goes. Yeah, but it's a great source that I think libraries aren't antiquated. There's still a lot of need for them, and they have a lot of programming that you wouldn't expect. They've really adapted and evolved. So I'm really impressed with different libraries, how they've done so.
Yeah, I am as well. And it's a different audience than what you would, than what you would normally expect. So I think it's a great strategy.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you. I'm glad to hear that because that's what I'm doing.
good. So tell the audience where they can connect with you and learn more about what you do.
Yes, absolutely. So it's twohorseproductions.com. And on there's a media tab that I've added recently, which has links to all the wonderful podcasts I've been on, articles I've written. And I have a section called Horsing Around, which is super fun. And you can go and see photos and follow us on all our social media links. So they're all listed there for you. But otherwise, at Corporate Coach Approach, also at Two Horse Productions. Productions 605. And then on Facebook, also Two Horse Productions. And there are multiple ways, but those are the main ones. And then also I do post in advance if I'm going to be doing meet and greets or author signings, because you're going to be busy and you're going to not have everything marked on your calendar. So I try not to flood my audience on social media, but maybe once or twice a week, just, hey, reminder, or here's where I'm going to be, love to connect. So those are some different ways that you could do so.
Awesome. And audience, I'll put all of those links in the show notes so you don't have to try to write them down while you're driving.
Yes, please don't. Safety first. But Two Horse Productions is easy to remember, and I really appreciate all the extra follows and interest. It's been a really fantastic journey thus far.
Awesome. Nicole, thank you so much for being with me today. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, and I look forward to seeing what you do with the libraries as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Donna. I really enjoy sitting together today and meeting another friend.
Thank you.